Hey, what's up, everybody? It's your girl, DJ Char Dangerous.
And it's your boy, DJ Big Bopper.
And, this week we've got a lot of news to talk about. There's been a lot of celebrities in the hospital lately. Some got arrested. We're also going to dive a little bit into sports, and then
we also have a little thing over R. Kelly that happened the other day.
But first, we're going to start with our song of the week.
And I will go ahead and start. And mine is, I've talked about the 88 Rising tour going on, and Joji and Rich Brian, they just went out. They were actually on Hot Ones talking about they had a new album drop July 20th. So that I've been listening to that, and it really got me back into where I was listening to some of the Rich Brian, some of his early work, and it was Glow Like That has just been in my mind. It's one of those, it was kind of like, I guess, Post Malone's I Fall Apart kind of deals, where a girlfriend broke up with him or something happened, he was done wrong, and it's just one of those songs, kind of puts you in your feels, but, I mean, gives you some perspective, and I don't know, I've just been jamming to that lately. So, I would encourage y'all to check out Glow Like That by Rich Brian, and then also check out Joji and 88 Rising.
All right, we'll do. And then mine is going to be Magic in the Hamptons. It's by the Social House, and then it features Lil Yachty. I don't know, there's just something about that song. It just gets me real pumped up. It's a good song. So we're going to jump right into some news.
We're going to start out with R. Kelly actually dropped a song, I believe it was yesterday, and its title is I Admit. And so he's had a couple allegations over his career, and I'm going to just go off of what he has said. He goes, "Today is the day you've been waiting for." He posted that on Instagram Monday, and then he directs his followers to listen to a new 19-minute song titled I Admit, in which the singer directly addresses allegations levied against him over the past year. So he's accusations of sexual misconduct for the 51-year-old singer for nearly 20 years. So he's had a child pornography court case, and then he was later acquitted to that, but it's still kind of been a thing, like, has he been up doing that? Has he been doing that? What has he been into? So in the new song he only uploaded this to SoundCloud as well. So if you're on Spotify, you wouldn't be able to listen to it. It's on YouTube, I'm sure, now as well. So he basically goes over and talks about all of the accusations against him, and he talks about everything and says what it is. He goes, this is a quote from it. He goes, "Said I'm abusing these women. That's absurd." And then he sings on Admit around 11:35. He goes to question some of the terms used to his alleged relationships and admits to certain activities. He goes, "What is the definition of a cult? What is the definition of a sex slave? Go to the dictionary, look it up, let me know. I'll be waiting. Now I admit that I got some girls that love me to pull their hair. Now I admit I got some girls that love me to talk dirty to them and pull them hair. Some like to get branded, and some like me to spank him." So basically he's just talking about, he's had allegations that he's been accused of basically operating a sex cult. And so there was a BuzzFeed reporter by I believe it was his name was D. Rogatis, and basically he said, "You've been trying to destroy me for 25 whole years." And the reporter spoke to the parents of the young women who accused Kelly of operating a cult, and then 3 former members of Kelly's inner circle. And he claimed that the singer was controlling every aspect of their lives of the 6 women living with him at that time. So, I mean, I'd never even heard about this until the song came out, and I haven't really given much of a listen to. I mean, it's 19 minutes, basically him just not so much admitting to things, but like bringing up allegations that have been put to him, and then he does admit to some things, but for the most part, it's just very interesting way to come out with all this stuff.
So I've listened to some of it, and you see, I didn't know all that either, because what I've known about R. Kelly is that, the alleged sleeping with underage women, and then the pee on you, that he peed on some girl.
Yeah.
So I didn't know all of that stuff. I have listened to the song, not completely, about 3 minutes of it. That's all I can take. I understand the concept. This is not a song. This is he put this out there like he wants to get it off his chest. He wants to let everyone know how he feels. So if you got 20 minutes, Go listen to it. It's very repetitive. He admits a lot.
Just admitting over and over and different things that he has done.
So and so and so. I admit so and so. I mean, it's very, I wouldn't say apologetic, but he kind of, admits the things he's done, and he explains, how and why he got there. So, yeah, I listened to about 3 minutes, 38 seconds, and I think that's where I drew the line. But I mean, it's good for him. For putting it out there, for getting it off his chest.
It must have been on his conscience. He's tired of just building it up. He said, you know what? I'm going to just let it all out. I'm going to let everything know right now, kind of deal.
Yeah.
So we find out R. Kelly finally admits to certain things.
Yeah, I admit.
And then, so another news is David Bowie had passed away about 2 years ago now. And but long before he was David Bowie, he was a 16-year-old kid named David Jones, and he did lead vocals on a demo tape for a band in London called the Conrads.
Ooh.
So it's been 2 years after his death, and one of his early bandmates, David Hadfield, has discovered an audio tape in an old breadbasket during a move, and this is the first known recording of David Bowie singing a song called "I Never Dreamed."
Wow. Okay, so what's happening with it? Because whatever is happening.
Well, I believe they're taking it to auction, and they're going to sell it at auction.
Money, money, money.
Yeah, it's kind of be like Wu-Tang's album kind of deal, like one of a kind. So we'll see if Martin Shkreli comes and buys this as well.
Either way, they're going to get some big money for that. So.
But yeah, which I'm actually really curious to see, about the recording. I hope whoever buys it, puts it out on at least YouTube, some streaming platform or something, so we can all hear it. But yeah, so this is his first recording. He was 16 years old. He was no name, and he recorded "I Never Dreamed," or not recorded. He was singing in it. So I mean, this is really cool, and it's really interesting that it's just now coming up. It just was kind of haphazardly thrown somewhere, and it's just now found over 40, 50 years after it's been done. So. I mean, I think that's pretty cool, and it's definitely something I'd like to find in my basement or my attic or something.
Yeah, for sure. That'd be a good listen. I also didn't know that David Bowie's real name was Jones. So.
David Jones. So, and I think he ended up adopting David Bowie in his mid-20s when he ended up making it big, I want to say. But I could be wrong on that. But, again, rest in peace, David Bowie.
Absolutely.
And then I'm excited. I hope I get to listen to it. So I think that's pretty cool. I always like seeing that there's new stuff like, a singer died. Michael Jackson, they went through his vault and they found all that cool stuff. It's just really interesting to see where they were going, or not so much where they're going. These are just projects they've done, and just see where they've been in their lives, as they go, and what they're talking about, what they're singing about.
Things that, that hadn't been released, but they were I don't know if I'm ready to share this with the world, or I don't know if the world wants to hear this. But I mean, after they pass on, these are things that we get to hear.
Exactly.
So, I got one. You have all the details, but Tekashi 6ix9ine. Did he get kidnapped? Was it an actual kidnapping and jumped?
Well, basically, this is how he's. I have a report in front of me saying what his side of the story and a little bit of the police report. But basically, I'll give you a short rundown before I really get into it. Basically, what happened? He said he was just walking when he got pistol whipped and beaten, thrown into a car. Taken back to his house where they ended up stealing, I think it was $250,000 to $275,000 worth of stuff, and then another $20,000 to $25,000 worth of cash. And then they took him back in the car, beat him some more, and then apparently while they were driving off, he got the door open and rolled out. And one of the guys came after him for a little bit, and then was feared of being ID'd and ran back and let him escape. And then he went straight to either the hospital or the cops. And so they got away. They don't really have anything on them yet that I had seen as of this morning. But it's just really interesting because I'm going to go through this. He goes...
Wait, I have a question.
Go ahead.
So he was picked up.
Mm-hmm.
Beat up, then taken back to his own house where they robbed him.
Yeah, while his wife and kid are there.
Wow, that's...
But they were unharmed. Reports that said they were unharmed. So basically he goes, here, I found it. Tekashi told the cops that 79th Precinct, he was coming home from a music video shoot around 4:30 a.m. when someone in a dark sedan bumped his Chevy near Bedford and Atlantic Avenues. Two gunmen got out of the car, took a phone belonging to Tekashi, and then struck him with the gun, forcing him into the car. And then they then drove him to Bedford. I'm going to butcher this. Stuyvesant, Sarah's home, and the mother of his child. So then he was forced to call someone inside to bring down a unspecified amount of cash and jewelry, which is now come up to be $275,000 worth of jewelry and goods, I guess, and then another $25,000 worth of cash. And then he managed, and then before putting him back in the car, and then he managed to get out of the car and reported the crime at the police station around 5 a.m. before going to Kings County Hospital, is what the police said. So, yeah, he posted, so he posted in YouTube in February, said, after he got into a fight, and he brags about being untouchable on social media all the time. He goes, "Look at my face. It's still untouched, yo." And he's like, after a fight at the LA airport. And then he's just been, his wife has just told, or has reported that she's terrified that her baby's dad, who is beefing with several rappers, including The Game, Trippie Redd, will end up dead.
Ooh.
So and rightfully so. I mean, he was beaten, robbed, and then brought to the house.
I think no, I don't think anyone deserves to get jacked up like that. I think that Tekashi 6ix9ine talks a lot, and so that it caught up to him.
Mm-hmm.
I'm glad he's doing okay. Glad that his family wasn't hurt.
Well, she says, Sarah goes to say that last night was a real wake-up call, and the fact that it happened right on my doorstep with my child sleeping inside really scared me. He's been beefing with so many people now that it feels like it can only end badly, is a direct quote from her. And a lot of people just think that it's a publicity stunt for a new single that he's supposed to be releasing with Nicki Minaj on Sunday. But I don't really think so. I've seen some of the pictures, and he looks pretty beat up. So I don't think that is a staged thing. But I mean, I could be wrong. But
no, I don't think it was staged either. Like I said, I'm glad. No one deserves to get beat up like this. Like I said, I think he talks a lot. So I think that's probably, why somebody said, okay, you're all talk, I'm all action. But I'm glad that he's doing okay.
I'm curious to see, is he going to tone down how he is definitely on social media? He's like, I remember there was a video of him. He was like, saying he's the new king of Chicago.
He's the king of, Was it New York or Chicago? One of the two.
One of them. And I'm just like, man, I'm just thinking to myself, I was like, this guy is going to get shot.
No, yeah. Honestly, I'm really not surprised at all. I think my first reaction was it's about time, but not in a he deserves it way, just he, talking all that crap is just, how the hip hop game is. Talking all that crap is going to get you beat up, and it did get him beat up. So I think that the baby mama wife is going to be the one to tell him, look, you got to stop talking so much trash.
Mm-hmm. And I think that's definitely what's going to happen. I mean, if I were to be in that position, and I'd been talking all this crap and then I get jumped and there's nothing I can do about it. I got beat, I got brought to my house, robbed in front of my kid, my wife. I'd probably, switch up of how I'm acting, make a couple life changes,
make a couple songs about being grateful,
and just try to stay away from making people want to fight you all the time.
And then, so Kanye got into the hospital. He got admitted to the hospital. When I was, people didn't know why. Evidently now we know that it's what, because of flu symptoms or because he has the flu.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, he was admitted, Kim Kardashian admitted Kanye to the hospital July 22nd, and then they later clarified it was because he had the flu. So, trying to be proactive about it.
I think that, and see, this is the thing. I could believe that, but I also know who Kris Jenner is.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know. There's been a lot of talk recently about Kanye's mental health.
Mm-hmm.
So, I think that could also... I don't know, though. We don't know.
There's been a lot of different things. I mean, Kanye and Kim Kardashian have kind of been having a rocky relationship this past year, definitely. And I don't know if it is just because of him and his mental condition. I mean, because earlier this year he had a mental breakdown. It was just a lot of things. He was saying it was stress, competing artists, thinking he was being manipulated, and all these different things.
And he talks about that on Ye. He talked about a little bit about he's done interviews where he said that he was diagnosed with a mental condition at 39, but he never said what it was. But on Ye, he hints at bipolar, and just seeing him and the way that he's been doing lately, I kind of believe as well that it's probably bipolar disorder.
Mm-hmm.
But on his album, he says it's not a disability; it's a superpower. So, I don't know why he's in the hospital. It definitely, she said, flu. That could definitely be it. I just know how Kris Jenner's brain works.
Mm-hmm.
So she's like, tell everyone it's the flu, Kim. Who gets the flu in the summer? No, I'm just playing. People do. But you know what I'm saying? So I don't know. But I hope
wish him the best of health, speedy recovery.
Absolutely. Somebody else was hospitalized yesterday.
Mm-hmm.
That was scary.
And that came up on my news feed, and I was
Mine too.
extremely surprised to see that Demi Lovato had a apparent overdose on heroin.
Yeah. My God. As soon as I got that notification, my heart, what? She has been so open about her struggle with drugs in the past recently, and just she recently had her 6-year anniversary of being sober, and then a couple months ago I want to say it was a month and a half ago, she put out a song called Sober, and it was basically about how she's not sober anymore, and about how she's sorry. She apologizes to her parents and her fans and everyone, future lover and stuff like that, about how she's sorry that she's not sober anymore.
Mm-hmm.
So I just getting that notification was the scariest thing to me, especially because all the story said was Demi Lovato hospitalized after heroin overdose, and I was like, what? And then Bob texted me about it, and he was like, oh my God, what just happened? And I literally, right before I got your text, I got a notification that said that she was stable. And I was like, thank God.
I was like, dude, I just saw it because I was working an event last night. I was working and I was doing a remote broadcast, and that came up, and I was like, oh my gosh, Sade. Demi Lovato is in the hospital. I didn't even know that she was not sober anymore. I didn't know she was struggling with this anymore, and that really caught me off guard, and I was like...
Well, that's the thing about drug addiction, and I've never, suffered from a drug addiction, but just like other addictions, it's something that you suffer with for the rest of your life.
Mm-hmm.
So you can be sober for 6 years and then have a slip up and fall right back into it.
Jeez.
It's so crazy to me. You don't know, she's definitely one of my favorite artists, one of my favorite people. And you don't know the internal struggle that people are having.
Right.
And I don't know. It also just made me think about because after this came out, there were so many different messages of love and support, of course, from the fans, but also I saw a post on Facebook earlier, and it said drug addiction is not a disease, it's a choice. And while, I don't know, I kind of wanted to get your take, because while I don't necessarily agree, I do almost agree. I don't agree with the full message. I think that the first time you do a drug, you choose to do it. But I do understand that after you have that drug, you're chasing that high.
Well, I personally don't really know much about it. I've never had a drug addiction. However, my brother has, or is a recovering addict. And he used to kind of tell me, from what I had heard, that he had talked about it and opened up. He was like, man, the first thing he did, he got out of rehab, and he came to, my parents brought him to his house, or brought him back to our house. The first thing he did is, I've had some medications that I've left in my room, and the first thing he did was go take my pain medicines, take my Concerta, take different pills that I had. That was the first thing he did.
Yeah. Wow.
That was the first thing he did. And it's just, I don't know, very...
It's something so, like, on the outside of it, because, like you said, you've never personally experienced a drug addiction. Me neither. And so, like, from the outside, it's so easy to say, just don't take drugs anymore. But, you know, it's not easy to do. I'm watching a show called Nurse Jackie now. And so, if you've never seen it, it's actually a really good show. It used to come on HBO.
Okay.
Basically, the premise of the show is that Jackie is a nurse. She's a mother and a wife. And she works so hard, like 12 hours a day while she's at work nursing. And then she comes home and helps with her family and everything. And she's a drug addict.
Okay.
And her family doesn't know. Her best friend at work, who's a doctor, doesn't know. The guy that she's sleeping with doesn't know. He's a pharmacist. Go figure. And so the show is kind of just like, I think it was good. It came out like in the I want to say the late 2000s, like 2009 or so, maybe 2008. But basically, it kind of makes you kind of see yourself in them, because like this woman is, you know, she's doing, she's working this, you know, every day. She's a functioning drug addict. But you also like see the moments like when she's not able to get her pills, like you see how tense she is, or you see like how she'll go and like drink mouthwash, like 2 bottles of mouthwash, chug some cough syrup to like get a high back. And she gets such a high tolerance that nothing will do it for her. In the episode I just watched, her daughter suffers from anxiety, so she had to get Xanax, and it's such a low dosage, and it's such a small amount of pills, but at that point she'd been clean for about a week completely, and she couldn't do it, and she downed the whole bottle.
Oh, Lord.
And was fine. Like, that did nothing to her because she'd built up such a tolerance.
Right.
And so, like, when I hear about overdoses and stuff like that, people are like, you know, if you overdose, you're trying to kill yourself, but it's not necessarily that.
So it's basically like how they're overdosing is that they're not feeling the effect of the drug, so they keep taking and taking and taking
exactly.
until
They're sensitized, they're desensitized to it. So that's like, it's kind of like people who don't like spicy things versus people who do. I'm going to keep dousing hot sauce on my stuff until, you know, I feel the spice, versus someone who, doesn't even like pepper. So that's not really a good drug analogy, but you know what I mean. And so, but yeah, I don't know. I just think that drugs are such a, I think we need to talk about it. I think
it's just a crazy addiction, and drug addiction is just so crazy concepts because it's so rampant with not just, and this is what people think, it's just like alcoholism. Alcohol's a drug. Alcoholism.
Absolutely, alcohol is a drug. Alcohol is a regulated drug.
I mean, prescription pills like that.
Those are regulated drugs. But alcohol and pills kill more people every year than weed does. So I feel like it's such a taboo thing to talk about. Like, nobody wants to talk about drugs. No one talks about drug addiction, but it's more prevalent than you know, and it has more of an impact than you think.
Like the research had said, like 30% of the people you know has battled some sort of addiction.
Absolutely, and I believe that 100%.
And I hadn't personally really known about it until my brother. And that's where I've kind of starting to learn a little bit about more drug addictions, because he would tell me, he was like, man, I've been doing this drug, and when I didn't have it, like, you do whatever you can. Like, I take pills, I drink, everything to try to feel that. And I'm just like, to me, it's easy to say, like, don't do that.
Yeah, just stop.
But
you can't just stop. And I think that, like I said earlier, like, you have a drug one time, and then depending on how you react to that drug, like, you'll chase that high. But
you also, like, drug or addicts, they don't think.
Yeah.
Like,
and then there's an aspect of having an addictive personality as well.
That
like,
is true.
Genetically, some people are born that more susceptible to drugs. Like, if they start, they won't be able to stop genetically. And I'm blessed that I don't have an addictive personality. Like, I can't even get addicted to smoking cigarettes. I don't like cigarettes. I think they're disgusting. But I wouldn't even be able to get addicted to that. So, but I also think that addiction and mental health almost go hand in hand, just because of, number one, how they're perceived, and number two, how it's treated. You know, mental health 9 times out of 10 is going to be treated with drugs,
right?
And then prescribed or not.
And where do they draw the line there? Because, you know, if they have this drug addiction problem, like giving them a drug to battle that, then they could get addicted to that and just taking that. And it's one of those things. It's a never ending thing. And like I've seen, because I went home and I saw my brother has like 6 prescriptions. And I'm just like,
you just prescribed the drug addict drugs.
I know. I was just like, and my parents pretty much keep a hold on that so he can't abuse them. But I don't think that he would abuse them if he could. Or at least I like to hope.
Yeah, absolutely.
Anyway, but I don't know really how that works. But and it's just, to me, to me as a normal person, it's so hard to
imagine that,
because I've never had to go around just like, oh well, I need to schedule everything around this.
Yes. Okay. Because like I'm watching Nurse Jackie, right? And she literally is like running low on these pills, right? And like at one point in like, I don't know what season I'm on, but like in one of the earlier seasons, like she has her own PO box and like pulls out her bill, and she's like a $630 bill. And granted, this was years ago, so like drugs were cheaper. But like of all these like medications, because she's got different aliases and different prescriptions,
right?
And so like she gets to a point where she's got these blue pills now that she's taking, and she literally takes 5 of them a day.
Dear Lord.
And she like hides them in the roof in a room of the hospital that she works at, and like she pulls them out and like starts like throwing them on a calendar, and she's like basically has barely enough to make it through the week, but next week she's toast. And I'm like, I don't know, you know? I feel like the only thing that we can almost equivalate that to is money.
Yeah.
But you can control that.
Yeah.
Like I'm not addicted to spending money. I can stand here and say like I'm not going to spend money today, which I am. I'm going to go to lunch. But still, you know what I mean? Like, so I don't know. I feel like
the only thing that I could ever compare it to, but I don't have an addictive personality, and I never feel like I can always stop and be like, oh crap, like,
yeah, you know your limits.
Because I used to, I guess this was technically, I guess, would be classified as an addiction, as they classify addictions, was I used to play World of Warcraft religiously.
Oh, yeah, yeah, that's an addiction too.
And I was like
online.
I was a top contributor. I was like number 1 tank in my guild. Like we were number 1 guild in our servers for raiding, and like to be this competitive to where you're going to be the first to like beat something, like you're playing nonstop. You're doing everything to gear your person, just nonstop playing. And then I realized, like, I sat back one day and I thought about it. I was like, you know what? I am planning my work schedule around playing video games. Yeah. I am planning my school schedule around playing World of Warcraft. And I was like, yo, I need to stop this. This isn't good. This is unhealthy. Yeah. And I quit it. I quit that day. Yeah. And I haven't played since. And that's why I feel like I've struggled with talking to my brother, is because I feel like I was like, man, you just need to realize that you have a problem and then fix it. Which, I mean, I guess he's done a little too late. Yeah. But it's just, that's why I feel like my brother definitely has an addictive personality and I do not. So that's why sometimes I struggle to
understand him,
and kind of communicate that with him.
I get that for sure.
But it's definitely hard. I mean, it's hard on my parents. It's hard on the family, and you just got to work with them. Like, if you know a friend who's a drug addict, you just got to work with them. I mean, even if they go through withdrawals and they're going to hate you, they're going to call you names. Yeah. In the end, they're gonna appreciate it.
And relapses happen,
and you can't get mad at them.
Yes,
you cannot get mad at them. You have to be supportive. It's just like, okay, I guess kind of like training a puppy. Yeah. Like, you're supposed to give them positive reinforcements, not negative reinforcements.
And that's the thing. You are kind of training someone to live without this thing. Exactly. Now. This thing that was just getting them through it before, they can't do anymore.
And what they say a lot of times as well is that they kind of revert to a point in their life that when they weren't doing drugs, and which I noticed my brother, like he I wouldn't say degraded, like, but he definitely, like, all of his hobbies now is like collecting Pokemon cards, Pokemon stuff, like just things that he used to play as a kid, and it's just odd to me. It's odd to me until like my parents really like kind of explained to me how it works. So I mean, it's hard. It's a lot of different changes. There's a lot of resources online to help if you're battling with addiction or if your friend's battling with addiction. There's resources online of what to do and how to help and just things like that. So definitely take it out, or definitely go look at it, and then just remember, like, if they do relapse, you can't get mad. You cannot get angry with them. They will not respond to anger.
You have to think about how you'd want someone to respond to you. You have to think of, kind of try to put yourself in their shoes, and if you were in a situation where you felt like you were upset, you wouldn't want someone to respond that way. You wouldn't want someone to yell at you. What we will do is go ahead and put those resources in the link in the description box. So if you guys are out there needing help or know someone needing help, you can't pull an office from, or you can't pull a Michael from the office and just like try to voluntarily take Meredith to rehab because she doesn't want to go. And you can't make someone quit an addiction that they don't want to quit.
You can't force them to do anything. You can't force them to go. But definitely if they're recovering and they do relapse, they don't want to do this. Yeah. They do not want to do this. So if you're yelling at them, that's not going to help because they don't want to do this either. They just sit down and be like, hey, why? Talk
to them.
Why,
how are you feeling? How can I make it better?
Yeah, like what if they were to relapse, like, hey, what were you feeling to make you feel like you needed to do this? Like what's going on? Like, talk to me.
Yeah.
And it's a slow process and it's not going to happen overnight, but eventually they'll get better. So
it's so cliche, but it gets better.
And I've noticed that because I've noticed over the past 4 years, my parents have been very strange about everything that's going on with my brother, and it's been since they've had him back. I mean, his quality of life has definitely improved. You know,
good.
His mental health is returning more and more. The only issue I have is that they prescribe him so many pills.
Yeah, and that's the thing. I think that I don't know if you guys know this, probably not, but I'm in school for communications right now, but eventually I'm coming back to get a master's and hopefully a doctorate in psychology and counseling. So I highly, when I think about addiction and things like that, I don't necessarily, I understand that, you know, it's the pathways and drugs will change things and stuff like that. But I also really believe in therapy and counseling, and I feel like talking to someone makes it just a little bit better. I know it's not going to fix everything, but one conversation can change your life. I highly believe that. So
definitely.
Something that we've been talking a little bit about, no, I wouldn't even say a little bit. We've talked a lot about Spotify's, you know, rules and then backtracking those rules, and we've voiced our opinions on it, but we actually kind of had it happen to us on Monday. So we got an email. It was about a song that was in our system. We did not know, but apparently one of the singers in the song had done some heinous crimes.
He was accused, and he was accused and convicted.
Okay, accused, sentenced, charged, convicted.
Yes, of child molestation, underage sex with sex with an underage minor, producing cocaine to minors, and even getting allegedly a baby high on cocaine, and just terrible things. And the more that we kind of looked into it, the more I was just like, okay, like I get this, I understand.
And so what sparked it was because the song played, a song by this guy's band played, and then so this guy emailed us and basically told us, I don't know if you know this guy has done these things. He was very confrontative about it and wanted to come up here.
He was like, if you do not pull this song, I'm going to come up there and lodge a formal complaint in person.
And I mean, I don't think that was completely necessary, but We did talk about it, and eventually we, decided to pull the song.
Mm-hmm.
I told him I was completely ready to pull the song in general. But then we kind of got into where do you draw the line, and I think Spotify was trying to find that line. I kind of understand more what they were doing now, since we kind of got approached with that same situation, and we kind of just wanted to know what do you guys think? What do you think that line is? Because I don't really kind of have one. I'm really riding the line all the time.
We're trying to draw the line, because if you were trying to say, okay, if they're talking about, drugs or murder, that takes out I don't know, over half of our hip hop and R&B, and then over half of our rock.
Exactly. And I was trying to say, I don't think drug charges. No, I think that where I kind of draw the line is where you induce bodily harm against others, or things like that. I think, and another thing I said was, if it's brought up to us, because then Lance started talking about Chris Brown. He said, let's take every Chris Brown song out of the system. And I said, honestly, when you think about stuff like this, the reason you take that away is to demonetize this person and to stop giving them power. I said, I think the public has forgiven Chris Brown. I know some people who will never listen to his stuff anymore. I know some people who are still big fans of his. I think that in the way that this guy brought it to us, and he emailed us and said this made him uncomfortable. Now, like I said, he didn't have to be as confrontative as he was.
I agree.
But, I'm glad that he let us know and that it makes him feel uncomfortable. And so, we can do something about it. And I think that, I don't think it's one of those things I don't think you kind of can draw. I told him 100% sexual misconduct with a child. No, absolutely not. Pull that out.
Exactly. And it's just I feel like it's a case-by-case basis. A lot of these things, we don't know. We don't do individual research on every single band member. So, as it's brought up to us, as it is brought up to us, we will look into it and seeing, first thing I did, Google this dude. He's 50 years in jail for underage sex with several minors, getting kids high on cocaine. I was like, okay, well, I don't really need to go any more detail on that. I agree that I shouldn't be airing him. Yeah.
We shouldn't be giving him our time and money on things that he's just going too far. And I think it's a thing about setting an example, because at the end of the day, you are you're a celebrity, whether you're in music, an influencer, things like that. That you're setting an example. The word influencer literally means that people are going to look up to you.
Well, he has the power of being the star to being a rock star, to be able to influence these young people to do what he wants.
Exactly.
And that is abuse of power, and that is just against, I feel like a lot of artists, they want to use this power to enlighten, bring people up, and then there's people like this who definitely take it the other way and abuse it and wrong people with it. And then I feel like, as I said, it's case by case as it's brought up to us, because we don't do individual research and everything. But if it comes up, forge a complaint to us, lodge a complaint, let us know, and we'll look into it.
We'll talk about it, and if it's something that we think should, happen, it'll happen.
And I feel like we're pretty much unanimous on, that guy's really terrible. He's done heinous crimes. He doesn't need to be on our system.
Yeah.
So.
Did you have a Taylor Swift story?
I did have a Taylor Swift story, actually. We have Taylor Swift is the youngest female ever to get over $700 million just from her tours alone. So she had her first tour was $125 million. Her second one was $134 million. Red was $150 million. 1984 was $253 million, and they all totaled to $758 million in total. So she is the youngest at 28 to get $700 million from just performances and tours alone. So
and when you think about that, you're like, $700 million, that's really not a lot of money. Well, I mean, no, I'm
Oh,
thinking
that's
about it like, that's a lot of money. But that's just from her tours.
Yeah, so this is like, that's not including royalties from music. That's not including CD sales. That's not streaming. This is simply from touring. And I mean, $138 million in a year from touring.
Yeah, her net worth is $280 million. So, I mean, and so I was talking about this and I was like, wow, but when you think about it, that is a lot. And then I was thinking about it and I was like, and she has like 5 tours now? She's done 5 tours, 5 albums. Well, she's been around since 2004.
Okay.
So like, I think, what did I say? I said 16, but she was 14, I guess, when she first started. That's not to say that's when her first album came out, but that's when she first started. That's when she signed with Big Machine, and then her self-debut album came out in 2006, and that's when Our Song came out. And I think another thing that Taylor Swift has done really well, I think, is her albums. Because I'm not going to compare her to any hip-hop albums just because, the numbers are always skew anyways. But I'll say the amount of songs, like she'll release a couple singles from that album, but then you'll listen to the whole album and you'll like pretty much the whole album.
Yeah.
Versus like a hip-hop album will come out and you're like, okay, dope, I'm going to listen to the whole thing the first time. And then you'll be like, oh, I like this song, and this song. Like I bought Reputation and I still listen to it. Like, if I'm going home, I'll play that in the car and I'll listen to the whole thing twice. Like, I like genuinely, I think she does music good.
It is enjoyable.
It is enjoyable. So, yeah. Oh, and then I saw this other story and I thought it was hilarious, right? So, the Big Sean song, I Don't Blink With You, which reminds me of that. What movie? Oh, have you seen Fist Fight? Mm-hmm. When Charlie Day and his daughter get up on stage and sing that song. Yep. It's so funny. Well, that song was about Naya Rivera, right? Because what song was he goes? My new girl on Gleein', probably making more. That's All Me. So with Drake. So the song, the show Lip Sync Battle, right?
Yes.
With Chrissy Teigen and LL Cool J hosting. She gets on that show, right? What song does she perform?
The Big Sean song?
I Don't With You. Literally about her. This woman has balls. She gets up there and performs this song about herself. And it's so good. I've always loved Naya Rivera, though, even in Glee. And so, I don't know. I just thought it was funny. I thought that was hilarious. She's married now. Her ring is huge. But I don't know. I just always thought it was funny. And then Triple X is in the news some more. He's gone, but he's in the news some more. They've indicted 4 men in his murder.
Have they released anything on any more information about that, or is it just indictments?
They were indicted by a grand jury.
Okay. So still, we got an update. We got 4 accusers, so we still have to go to trial and see exactly what happened, right?
Yeah. I don't know. I just think it's crazy because there's also still some conspiracy theories out there that he's on an island somewhere.
Well,
I
know there was the conspiracy theory about Drake set up the hit, and that one. I mean, it's obscure, but it is kind of interesting how the lyrics.
He thinks
fall.
SMS Triple X, but I'm telling you, just think about it.
The only time he shoot below the neck.
Okay, yeah, SMS Triple X. The only time I shoot below the neck. I'm thinking of it in a way different, more perverted way, and I think that's how it was meant.
Yeah, probably. No, most definitely, probably.
But the way that it just the timing of it all.
Oh, I know the real meaning, but it's just funny. Like, there's one of those conspiracy theories, and that's what.
Conspiracy theories.
Yes, one of the conspiracy theories, and it was just funny. Like they most of the time they have zero merit, but it's kind of funny. It was just a little coincidental.
Yeah.
Again, it's not related to that by any means. It's just kind of funny that's how it that's how it was taken because of everything. I just find that kind of interesting.
And then I do have some sports news. I don't know if you know, Bob. Are you a big sports guy? I
mean, I would consider myself a decent when it comes to like at least football.
Okay. Well, camps are starting back, and if you know me, you know I'm a Cowboys fan. I watch every single game. I'm gonna try and make it to a game this year. But I was watching the news, and I saw that people are expecting the Browns to do pretty decent this year.
Oh, really?
Because of Baker.
Well,
I had a conversation with my dad about this, and I said, I think that the Browns will win 3 games. My dad said 3 games. He said he'll give them 3 games. And I said, okay. And those 3 games are either going to be jump the gun right out of the gate, like the first 3 games of the season, and then they're going to go downhill, or they're going to keep getting better and better and better and start with no wins and then win the last 3 games. There's no in between.
we'll see because,
We'll see.
I mean, there's a lot of there's other variables like injuries,
Yeah.
of course.
Yeah, of course. And I mean, I think that they're just like pride and joy is the fact that Baker will be there.
Yeah.
So he'll be back. Also, so that's NFL. They're just starting mini camps right now. Their trade deadlines and everything are done.
Did they show who's going to be on the next Hard Knocks camp Hard Knocks?
No, I don't think so. But they did.
'Cause I know 2 years ago it was the Houston Texans. Whoop. But
oh, you know what else got released? The soundtrack from Madden 19.
oh, really?
Let's see. We got some Lil Baby, some Lil Skies,
Okay.
Migos, Post Malone's on there. Ball for Me, that one with Nicki
Hey,
Minaj.
imagine that. Post Malone near the end of near the end of our podcast.
Right? It always happens. Pusha T's on there. Ooh, so is Denzel Curry, Designer,
Denzel Curry, is it Ultimate?
Sumo.
Oh, dang, I was wrong.
Cardi B's on there. A Moneybag. Let's see. Young Thug and Young Ma.
Okay.
So I'm about to get a PS4 finally.
It was a pretty good
So I'm gonna get Madden,
soundtrack too.
and then yeah, right. It sounds pretty decent. It'll be pretty good. It will hype you up. And then so NBA news, they're still doing trades.
Okay,
and stuff.
NBA news number 1, we got Carmelo Anthony coming to the Houston Rockets.
Yeah.
Boom, baby.
Honestly, so I don't know. Carmelo Anthony's not a bad player. He's not the greatest, but he's not the worst. And
No, I feel like he's gonna.
I think he'll do something for the Rockets.
He's not a great player, but he's a good player, and I
Yeah.
feel like they're gonna put him into position, and he's gonna do very well. And I think he can complement Harden as well.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I think they'll work really well together.
That's why I think not get one of like, I don't know, like if you were to get LeBron or even Russell Westbrook kind of thing, where they're the heads, they're the leaders kind of deal. They'd kind of butt heads with Harden, but I feel like Carmelo Anthony, he's more of a upper mid tier player, so
Yeah.
he doesn't need
upper mid tier. Yeah, that's a good way to describe.
so he doesn't need to be the star. So I feel like he's got a lot better teamwork than the other ones. So I feel like it's going to complement, and I hope that we end up winning this year.
Well, the Spurs just lost Tony Parker.
Mm-hmm.
Tony Parker's been with the Spurs for forever. They just lost him. He's going to Charlotte. He's going to play for the Hornets.
Who did they end up trading for him with?
I don't know.
Well, that's odd. And he ended up going to Charlotte out of
People
everything.
are calling him a ring chaser. And then somebody said, "Bruh, how are you calling him a ring chaser? The Hornets probably won't even make the playoffs."
Yeah. No, I was thinking, the Hornets have never been.
I mean,
I can't. I honestly could not. I can't say anything. If there was a chance if I could transfer teams to get a ring, I probably would.
So, I was listening to the radio this morning on my way into work, and Dwayne Wade's in China right now doing some stuff. China offered him a $25 million 1-year deal.
Oh, I'd take it. 1 year,
Absolutely,
25 mil.
I
Yeah,
would take
done.
that 100%.
Because you also got to think the competition in China is nothing compared to the NBA.
Nothing, exactly.
So 25 million, go over there and just like basically
Ball.
You're
Just
going
ball
against
out.
you're going against the NBA Junior League.
Yeah,
you
pretty
know?
much. I love watching the Summer Olympics because when the U.S. plays China, dude, it's so bad. We're just dunking on everybody anytime. And then, okay, so Dirk is coming back. He signed a 1-year, I think $5 million,
Mm-hmm.
which makes him the longest player, or the player who played with the franchise, with one franchise for the longest. It's like 21 years.
Dear Lord.
Yeah, because I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, he's
the
been playing
Mavericks
since he was
are
like 19.
I think the Mavericks are the only team he's ever played with.
Yeah, he's been playing since he's like 19. He's like 40-something, right?
Yeah, he's getting up there. And then I also saw that if he plays one more year, he'll be like the first player and the only player to play in like 4 decades. Because it'd be...
Yeah, 2020. Well, 2 more years. 2019, 2020.
Well, yeah, but he's already done for next year.
Oh, yeah.
So if he signs an extension after that... I also saw Kevin Love has opted to do a contract extension because I think when he signed his contract for the Cavs, I want to say it was like a 1-year deal. How long has he been with the Cavs? 1 or 2?
I think it's been for 2 years now.
Well, he signed a 5-year extension. Guess how much money?
$35 million.
120.
Woo!
He's
for
getting
5 years.
He's getting money.
There you go.
Yeah, and now that Braun's gone, he's gonna step it up. And see, Dwayne Wade's at Miami, right? He's at Miami still. Yeah, I don't know. If I were him, I'd consider playing in China. They ain't got nothing to lose.
Yeah, I mean, it's $25 million to go. It's like, okay, let's say you're playing high school sports, right? You got your varsity team. You're basically going against like the JV team.
Yeah, pretty much. That's pretty much what's happening.
Exactly what he's about to go do. And so I $25 million to go over there and just stomp on people. Yeah, I'd do it.
I would do it to just stomp on people.
Yeah, basically, you got to think about it. Like I mean, you can see it in the Olympics you were talking about. Ever since they allowed allowed professional athletes, not just college athletes, to play, it's just been no contest.
Yeah.
Except for, I'm sorry, that 1 year that we had like a bunch of major stars. I can't remember what it was, and then we ended up losing. And then the next year we had the Dream Team.
Yeah.
And I was just, but.
We covered a lot today. We covered a couple heavy topics. Like we said, guys, give us your opinion on, the line, I guess. Mm-hmm. Where to draw the line. Where do you think the line should be drawn? That's just, kind of what we think. Mm-hmm. And, that's us thinking as, number one, people who listen to music, but more importantly, people who run a station.
Yeah.
So, we, at the end of the day, think about, we've got to play music no matter what. So what can we play, But, let us know what you guys think. And like I said, we're going to have links in the description box. If you or anyone you know is suffering with addiction, get some help for them.
And definitely be there for them.
Even if it's just a conversation, you never know what that conversation could do.
Exactly. So, like you said, I know we talked about a lot of heavy topics today. It was a little bit different than what we normally do. But we both agreed that we felt like it needed to be addressed.
It's so prevalent and it's happening, and I'm the type of person that I think that conversations need to be had. I don't think that sweeping anything under the rug is not doing anything but keeping your house dirty. Exactly.
And it's just something that I personally I deal with because my brother's an addict, so I definitely feel like it needs to be addressed and talked about. It's because a lot of people, they either are in denial, they just don't think it's going on, or they think it's just going to get better. It doesn't. You need to help them. But again, we're going to get off that. We will be back next Wednesday on Wave of the Planet, and hopefully we have a lot happier news to talk about.
Happier topics. If you guys want to hear a show about anything special in particular, let us know.
And I know she was talking about the soundtrack of the new Madden 19. I'm actually going to go check out a couple games. I kind of want to talk about music and video games. I think I actually am going to end up starting that up next week. So stay tuned.
I have a couple new segments. I think I talked about wanting to start maybe talking about, because I like to travel. So like music and traveling, or like music from a certain place or about a certain place and how it, makes you feel and stuff like that. So new segments coming, guys.
So stay tuned. We're only going to continue to grow and continue to inform you about different things and the music news and just different things about elements of music in general.
Yeah, it's episode 6. Thanks for listening. Thanks for listening. That's how it goes, I think. Thanks for listening, guys.
Of course, we love y'all and appreciate y'all, and we will see y'all next week at Wave of the Planet.
Big Edition.
If you enjoyed the show, please rate, review, and subscribe for updates when new episodes drop. And follow our station on Twitter and on Facebook at The Planet 107 to see everything going on at Tarleton Radio.